Yes, I know what you're thinking. Pinball, isn't it freaking early to sit there and have a second video up? It's not even 9 o'clock in the morning yet. Yeah, and it's important why I'm going to put this one up too. Uh, this one will piss you off because it sure as hell pisses me off. Apparently, on Tuesday evening, the House of Representatives decided to pass a bill called the Immunization Infrastructure Modernization Act. Now, what'll piss you off about this is 80 Republicans voted for this, on top of every Democrat. I'm going to post a link below where you can see the roll call and you can look up your representative and see if he voted yay or nay. Mine, Chuck Fleischman, the guy who I have it out for, voted yay. Pisses me off. So what is this bill? Well, this establishes a government database of anybody and everybody who is vaccinated or not vaccinated. Okay? It gives the government, if I remember correctly, $400 million to create this database. That way the government can come out and say, oh, Mr. Pinball, you're due for this shot. Or, oh, Mr. Pinball, you haven't had this shot. You need to have this shot. For those of you who have gotten it, oh, Mrs. Jones, you're due for your 90-second booster shot. Okay? This is what's going on. Basically, that's what they're portraying as. Oh, this is a way for the government to help you and remind you of whatever. No, what this is a database that gives them the names of all the people who have refused to follow the mandates of the current commander-in-chief. Okay? Here's the problem. We've all talked about papers, please. We've all talked about door knockers. We've talked about, you name it, every which way that the communists in charge of Washington are trying to turn this into the Soviet Union. This stuff is straight out of 1984, guys. Okay? If this isn't Orwellian, I don't know what is. Because now, if they have a database that's greater than the CDC database, because remember, anybody who's participated has had their name reported to the CDC. So anybody whose name is not on there obviously hasn't. Well, it's going to take a whole lot of effort for the CDC, which is not a government entity, to coordinate with, say, the IRS, that is a government entity, and cross-reference all of that. Now that we're, at least the House of Representatives has passed this bill, now it's a government entity. Now you have the government completely knowledgeable about your medical history. What business is it of AOC if I've had a shot for shingles? Why does she have a right to know? Why does Chuck Schumer need to know if somebody's got an HPV shot or whatever? Pick one, okay? They don't. But here's where it gets interesting. Because this would be another bureaucratic, bloated waste of money that is a government entity, they can commingle the information with, say, Social Security list, the IRS. So now they have a list of everybody by name, by address, by age, by whatever, and go, oh, okay, Mary Jones, who lives at 123 Main Street, has had the chickenpox vaccine, the smallpox vaccine, the MMR vaccine, and the shingles vaccine. But she hasn't had this. So, gee, what can we do? Oh, I don't know. Maybe we'll audit her. Maybe we'll delay a Social Security check. Maybe we'll reject her Medicare, Medicaid payments until she gets this done. Whatever we want. This is kind of where this is heading, guys. This is where I'm saying this is totally Orwellian. All right. There is a comment, okay, that was made, a quote, and I'm just going to read this to you. As I've said many times before, the government is not your doctor. The federal government has no business inserting itself into private health care matters of Americans. There is no reason for them to collect this data. It is an affront to our liberties and health freedoms. This kind of legislation is always passed because the government has its hands in everything nowadays, often at the expense of freedom and privacy of Americans. This bill would allow the government to collect, study, and share your private health data. There are endless ways the government could potentially use this information against you, purposely and accidentally. Okay? And I've got to see exactly who that came out from. That is from Representative Mary Miller from Illinois, Republican. All right? Representative Byron Donalds from Florida claims this is the Democrats' habitual pattern of reckless and wasteful spending. Okay, the legislation would unnecessarily appropriate millions of taxpayer funds intended to expand bureaucracy in Washington. A database solely created to record and collect confidential vaccination information of Americans explicitly encroaches upon individuals' fundamental right to medical privacy. As a fiscal conservative, I cannot in good faith support legislation that contributes to the Democrats' habitual pattern of reckless and wasteful spending and the intrusive heavy hand of government. These two get it. Where in the world the government gets off wanting to have their hand literally up my ass, I have no idea. All right? It is none of their business. It is business between me and my doctor as to what medical procedures I've had done. Okay? Because what's next? Gee, Mrs. Smith had a tummy tuck. Mrs. Jones had her boobs done. Gee, pick something. It doesn't make a lick of difference. Why does the government have any reason to know this? Sure, I get the fact that you have to provide immunization records to the schools or whatever to get your kids in. All right, that makes sense. Now, why does the federal government need to know what is going on in my body? They don't. This should infuriate every one of you that they're trying to do this. Like I said, this is totalitarian, this is Orwellian, you name it, all right? This is cradle to grave Democrat bureaucracy control of your life. They're going to tell you what to do. And I'm not going to have anything to do with it. Like I said, I'm going to post a link below where I'll post it not only to this article, but I will also post it to the link where you can see how your representative voted and then raise 9 kinds of hell. The other thing I would say is contact your senators and tell them, oh, hell no, do not pass this. And the problem we have is it's 50-50 in the Senate with the cackling hen over there as the deciding vote. Here's a bunch more of your money pissed away, wasted, and your freedoms stolen. Pinball out.